Hi there, Pete. Sorry you weren't able to make it to the studio this evening. It's video lesson for today. And I also got your note about you being out the following week. So if you can, between now and next time, if you have a free moment, if you record yourself maybe playing through a couple things, or if you have questions, more specific questions that you have for me, I'll do my best to answer in that video. So cool, man. So 4 things I want to talk about today. I'll go down the list, and like I said just a second ago, if you want me to take a look at anything or any questions about it, I'll be more than happy to answer to my best of my ability. So cool. So thanks for sending over the note 2 where it's like, okay, this is what you've been working on this week. With the sequences, now that you can do 3-note sequences through boxes 1 and 2, the next step is to learn another sequence pattern for those boxes. The next one you should be doing is a 4-note sequence. Now, 3-note sequence wasn't too bad because all you had to remember was go back 1 and start the pattern over again. That being this, so 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So see, I went back 1, 2, 3. I go back 1, 1, 2, 3. Go back 1, 1, 2, 3. Go back 1. See, not that bad. 4-note sequence is a little trickier to visualize because what you're doing is this: you're starting here on this A right here on the 6th string, and you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now, if you were just to go back 1, you would have skipped the sequence that started on this next note right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The next note I could start a sequence on would be this guy right here. But if I go back 1, I missed him completely. Will it sound wrong? No, but it won't be getting every single sequence with that 4-note sequence. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, how to remember doing that? I'm going to play it real quick and see if you can pick up on it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? It's kind of harder to do that one. But what I found was by having a phrase for my students to say, it actually made life so much easier to remember this sequence pattern. The phrase is, my last is my first. The last finger that I play will jump down a string and play the sequence all over again. Let me show you what that means. 1, 2, this is box 1 A minor pentatonic, as you probably already know. 1, 2, 3, 4. I finish with my ring finger here on the 7th fret. My last finger is the first one of the next pattern. I bump that back up to the string behind. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right here, see this guy right here? Last is my first. I'm going to hop down to the string below. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Bam. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one to use. It's going to be the first one for the next sequence. Last one, first one. Last one, first one. Right? Last one, first one. Last one, first one. Right? So as long as you keep on saying my last is my first and you go back a string, you should be just fine with this. Same thing going back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, last is my first. Last is my first. Last is my first. Right, and so on and so forth. Do that. Be able to do that through those two boxes. My criteria for passing someone off to another box is, first, do you have it memorized completely? Right? Do you need to, like, if you're looking at it, you don't have it memorized. You have it half memorized. Can you play 2 or 3 different sequence patterns and can use different musical elements in those two to play in that box? If you can do that, then we can move on to the next box, and then we have A minor pentatonic across the whole thing, and then we go to the next step from there. We should have to come back for what that secret is. Right? So practice that. Now, the thing with playing with sequence patterns is that they can kind of start boring after a while, sound predictable after a while. A lot of different ways we can kind of break up that monotony of playing the same thing over and over again. If I put on a backtrack of China Cat Sunflower, I'm going to play 3-note sequences and 4-note sequences. Start right in the middle of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? I can mix and match the 4 if I want to. I can do this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. That's one way of breaking out of that monotony. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. right? So you can make different numerical patterns like 3s and 4s. Another way of doing it is by using this. Go up here. Silly, but it works, man. Let's see here. If I do this, it's not bad. What I was doing in my head was this. Chips and guacamole, chips and guacamole, right? It's my rhythm guide right here. So I use phonetic devices to help get myself out of playing the same rhythms I've always been playing over and over again, right? If you just play and don't try any other different rhythmic groupings, don't think about it, you're gonna end up having the same like 5 different rhythmic cells that you always practice. What you need to do is, and it's silly, right? But it works. All this silly stuff, it works. There's the reason why people use this stuff. Drummers use this. I used this in college when I had really difficult jazz rhythms to read. The teacher would come in and say like a stupid, silly saying to me, and lo and behold, I could now play that rhythm. So it's not like cheating or anything like that, or it's not like, oh, that's a low way of learning how to do it. Professional musicians do this, right? Like when professional soloists go up there, they're in their head, they're singing what they're playing. Right? What you do in this rhythm guide is you pick one of these sayings right here. Like in my example, I picked chips and guacamole because that's a 6-note thing in the 3-note sequence. 3 plus 3 equals 6. That's how I ended up with that one. You can chop these up. So you could do like strawberry ice cream and then do 2 of those and then like chop out like the last 2 or something like that to make it work, right? So, but start with this though, and you'll find that, and you gotta say it rhythmically too. You can't do chips and guacamole, chips and guacamole. Okay, Doug told me to do that. I'm gonna just do it like that. You have to be rhythmic with it. Guacamole, chips, and so what I'll do is I'll sit there and play that on one note or one string, right? And then I'll apply it to the sequences, and then that helps me get out of that rut of playing the same rhythms I always play all the time. When you're jamming, it helps kind of like get out of the thing that you normally do, right? So practice that this week. Use that rhythm guide and help you apply that to your sequence patterns, and that'll get you out of your rhythmic rut. Third thing that I want to talk about is the G6 chord or the E form arpeggio, right? So we said before that all these chords right here, so C, A, G, E, and D, they're all movable chords, right? So this E chord right here, I strum this, right? And I put that bar here at the first fret. We get the musical alphabet, E, and then we have F here, that's therefore an F chord. We have an F sharp chord, that's the next note in the musical alphabet, and then we land here on our G. Right now, China Cat Sunflower is a G Mixolydian jam. We are not near Mixolydian yet, right? But we can still play with those sounds a little bit if we want to. With this one here, we have our G chord, or E form G chord, right? This guy right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play it one note at a time. So I'm just gonna take this and do this to it. Right? But I don't want it to sound like I'm picking through a chord. I want it to sound like a musical line. So I do this. We talked a little bit about that last time. Right, we talked about that last time. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the middle part of the chord, the strings of 4, 3, and 2, and chop away everything I don't need. I end up with this right here. And if I play as a single line, 5, 4, 3, I am playing what's called an arpeggio, a broken chord. Jerry Garcia plays arpeggios he played arpeggios all the time when he was alive. All these great jam bands, someone said it the other day, I thought it was kind of funny, they called it baby jazz. Who was that? Who said that? Some famous guy, it was like Andy Summers or something like that. Called this music like baby jazz because it's kind of like, it takes the elements of jazz, like we're playing chords, but we're not as complex as like Coltrane and things like that. Even though those guys, like these jam band guys, I'm sure like John Mayer and those guys can hang playing that music. This style, it's very simplified harmony, but played with like a jazz style. So what they're doing, they're playing an arpeggio, a broken chord, the same way that a jazz player would play, or a more chord-minded player would be thinking. But we're gonna break this apart in small pieces. So 5, 4, 3. Then we have that extra note in here. that 5 right there on the second string. So you have this. Right? So that's what we had last week. We had 5, 4, 3, 5. The next step is we're going to add a blue note to it. We're going to add a jazzy sounding note to it to make it sound more interesting. What we're going to do is we're going to add an A sharp right here on the 3rd fret, 3rd fret, 3rd string. There's another name for that note we'll talk about later on. But you have your A here, right? So A sharp, your octave box. I'm going to add that to the chord. So it's going to be this plus that right there. I play them in order, and I put the notes in parentheses that are not part of the chord in the tab down here. 5, 3, 4, 3, 5. I can do sequences with it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. So everything I've talked about so far today, if I throw on that backtrack, rhythm guide, 3-note sequence. Chips and guacamole. Box 2. G6 arpeggio, which I just showed you. E minor pentatonic. 4-note sequence. Right? So what I did there was combine all 3 of those things I talked about. A minor pentatonic 4-note sequence, using a rhythm guide to spice up my 3-note sequences, G6 arpeggio, right? So I have all those things that I added in there. So I kind of took all those things we've been practicing, mixed them in a pot, and then I was kind of just moving between those different concepts. Real quick, one last thing, we're out of time. But fourth thing I want to talk about is the China Cat Sunflower rhythm riff. This guy right here. So we have there is, I tabbed it out for you, but just go over it real quick. It's an octave box riff, G, G, then inside the octave, 3, 5, and then complete the octave. So he's going from here, 3, 5, 3 hammer 5, 3, 5. It's the first part. Second part, 3, 5, 3, 5 hammer to a 3 twice, 3, 5, 3, 5 hammer 3, 3, 5 hammer 3. It just moves between those 2 things. Right. Cool, man. Work on those for me. A lot of material right there, so I'll probably go over some of that stuff next week as well. When I send you your next video. Awesome, man. Like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. If not, I will see you same time next time. Take care.